Speaking of something that also has garnered up many, many views all across the world, of course, the most watched trial of the century, they're calling it, the Oscar Pistorius murder trial. Now, today marks week three of the Oscar Pistorius murder trial, and if anything was, if you look at week 2 and where that was concerned, there was a lot of high drama, which I think is what we can expect for the next coming week. Now, we want to know what you think of the Oscar Pistorius murder trial. Go onto our Expresso Morning Show Facebook page, and here's the question we want to ask you. Which one have you been watching more? The Oscar Pistorius trial or the missing Malaysia MH370 flight? Which one have you been paying more attention to? There's been a lot of news going all around the world, so which one have you been paying more attention to? But here's a bit of a roundup on what you can expect coming up this week.
Week 2 of the Oscar Pistorius trial was an emotional one for the former Paralympian as he came face to face with the graphic and harrowing testimonies of pathologists and forensic investigators who dealt with the fatal shooting of Reeva Steenkamp. It all began with pathologist Gert Simon, who testified on the findings from his autopsy. The report told the story that Reeva might have, were she alive to take the stand. In it, Simon illustrated what she experienced on that fateful Valentine's morning, how, after being shot 3 times, Steenkamp was mortally wounded, and although she didn't die immediately, those injuries rendered her severely brain damaged. During this graphic testimony, Pistorius broke down, becoming physically sick in court, to the extent that a microphone had to be removed from him so that the court wouldn't hear his cries. Day 7 continued with the pathology report, detailing the timeline around Reeva's last meal. Her empty bladder served to back up the defense's claims that she got up to go to the toilet that morning, as opposed to running to the toilet to escape an angry Pistorius. But Simon also asserted Steenkamp last ate after 1 a.m., contradicting Pistorius' statement that the couple was in the bedroom by 10 p.m. Day 8 began with a senior police officer at the Forensic Science Laboratory, Colonel Johannes Vermeulen, whose evidence showed that Pistorius was on his stumps when he broke down the toilet door, contradicting Pistorius' original statement that he was wearing his prosthetic legs when he broke down the door. But the processing of evidence and the competence of the South African Police Service's Forensic Department came under close scrutiny, with the defense countering that the police missed evidence, including a large splinter of wood, and that new marks had appeared on the door while in police custody.
You just so happen not to see these wooden splinters there?
Yeah, well, that was an oversight of myself, my lady.
With the key questions around missed evidence and other issues of the police investigation taking center stage, Day 9 began with Police Station Commander Colonel van Rensburg, who was the first officer to arrive at Pistorius' home after the shooting. Van Rensburg took the court on a tour of the double-story home with a sequence of photos taken by police hours after the shooting, which were displayed on screens around the court. On seeing these photos, Pistorius broke down once again. He bent over and held his A4 notepad over his head, after which he wept as the state inadvertently showed pictures of Steenkamp's body on a screen next to him. The evidence proved too much for Pistorius, who eventually requested that the screen facing him be switched off. On the final day of week 2, Roux's onslaught of the police investigation hit its peak, effectively charging that not only was evidence tampered with, but that the police had bungled the entire case. Colonel van Rensburg admitted that an expensive watch had been taken from Pistorius' bedroom while under police guard, and confessed that a ballistics expert who handled Pistorius' firearm did so without wearing gloves.
When I heard that the firearm has been cocked, so I turned my head to where the firearm has been cocked to see what is going on, and at that particular moment the ballistic expert was having the firearm in his hand without gloves. And then he said, "Sorry."
The Oscar Pistorius murder trial is expected to continue until April 4th, but until then, there is still a great deal more to be uncovered as week 3 of the most watched trial of the century continues in the High Court this morning.
Week 3 of the Oscar Pistorius murder trial commences today at 9:30 at the North Gauteng High Court. We'll be keeping you up to date, giving you daily updates. You're also welcome to get more in-depth results and, of course, talks about the proceedings on sabcnews.com.